Guys, it's the morning of our day number 2. We're gonna leave El Paso here in just a little bit, and as you can see, it is raining. We're really looking forward to getting to Ruidoso, but it's definitely wet.
Greetings from sunny El Paso, Texas, where it never rains.
Yeah, so last year the locals told us that it's really unusual for them to get a lot of rain in August. And we happened to talk to another local today saying, yeah, August is our monsoon season. So that explains a lot.
If you watched episode 2 of our run to the Rockies 2017, you know that we had some trouble with the slick clay roads out of El Paso and battled the rain all day long, but arrived in Ruidoso, New Mexico safely. After a restful night, we awoke to sunny skies and things were looking up for the day's travel to Fort Sumner. After just a few miles on the road, we arrived at Capitan, New Mexico. Here we decided to take the trail through Capitan Pass, but after going just a short way, I made the decision to turn around due to the mud. And instead, we took the big bike bypass provided by Sam Carrero on his Shadow of the Rockies trail. Returning to Capitan, we took Highway 246 north and were soon back on the trail. The sky was clear, roads were dry and smooth, and the temperature was moderate. This was just what we had hoped for, and we could make good time heading up to Sumner Lake State Park, just outside Fort Sumner, where we would spend the evening. As you ride along in the wide open spaces of the high plains of New Mexico, you feel so relaxed and re-energized. This is what adventure riding is all about, and this is the type of environment where the big twin boxer of the GS feels most at home. We feel fortunate to be able to do this trip each year, and even more so to know we are helping to bring attention to Ultimate Sacrifice Association and the quality of life programs they provide to families of our disabled and deceased first responders injured in the line of duty. The latter part of the day became a little more interesting as we encountered more wet, muddy sections and then this nice sandy area as we got closer to the end of the day. Although sand is generally my nemesis, I actually enjoyed this part of the day's ride en route to our campsite. The weather was beautiful and spirits were high as we took to the roads north of Fort Sumner. Shortly after leaving town, there's a nice soft dirt-sand mix as you head across the plains headed towards a plateau. When we traveled this road in 2016, it was completely uneventful, other than wondering if it would rain on us again. This year, however, it was a different story. Woo! The heavy rains had preceded our arrival by a few days, and it seemed like there was a lot more sand than we remembered. Working our way through the sand, we encountered several large washouts that caused us to resort to traveling across the fields instead of the road on several different sections. a little bumpy and we had to take our time, but our only real concern was picking up a thorn and puncturing a tire. Well, that and big holes in the road.
Quick, go quick. Just go quick. Don't worry about this. Get the camera. It's broke. I can't hold this thing forever. We do a 32-point service check. Mr. Goodwrench.
After getting my bike upright again and taking advantage of the photo op, we were able to make it across the rest of the distance to the climb up the plateau.
I'm past. Ah, shit. Okay.
Damn it. Right,
Put weight on it and yeah, there you go. There you go.
The climb up was not overly steep. It was a little rough near the top, but once we crested the hill, the road smoothed out into some really nice double track before making a turn towards some pretty nasty looking weather. I quickly double checked the map to see if there was a way to avoid it, but seeing no other way close by, we headed towards it.
Okay. Alright, start her up. Man, it's suction cupping to this stuff. Now, your front tire doesn't look that bad. I mean, it is clogged, but not like how it was in El Paso. I think once you get to that darker or that lighter looking stuff, you might be good.
Yeah.
After working our way through a few slick and muddy spots, we arrived at Logan.
Today was day 4 of Run to the Rockies. Today, Oscar met us, so we've got another rider on the ride. He's from San Antonio, Texas, and we drove 650 miles here today to meet us to finish up the rest of the trip with us.
To Stephen and I, Oscar was the hero of the trip. Just months prior to this, Oscar had gone through chemotherapy and suffered a heart attack. In spite of this, he was determined to join us and traveled 650 miles from his home in San Antonio to Logan, New Mexico in one day. The following day, he rode about a half day through some tough sand and mud before deciding he needed to hit the pavement and meet us at our campsite in Trinidad. Probably a good idea, since Stephen and I spent about an hour trying to get through some mud on Campbell Road. In the first run to the Rockies, we were able to work our way around this spot, cutting through some pasture area, but this time there was too much mud. Despite wearing myself out and dropping my bike again after the mud, we were on our way and climbing in elevation, heading towards Trinidad. Seeing some spectacular views along the way, as well as some pretty steep drop-offs, we got onto level ground. Getting onto pavement once again to make up for the lost time, we passed through one final storm before descending into Trinidad, Colorado. We arrived at Trinidad Lake State Park and set up camp. We would take the next day off to relax, do laundry and prepare for the Colorado sections of the trip.